Recently, I did a video about Dave Chapelle selling out and sucking the cock of Saudi bloody money, so I decided to do another one. It got some good traction, but in this video, I want to focus on the fact that the guy that Negroes like to call the sellout, Tiger Woods, a couple of years ago refused $1 billion offer from the Saudis because, the Saudis created this thing called Live Golf, and they wanted Tiger Woods, and they offered him $1 billion. Meanwhile, Dave Chappelle goes over to Saudi Arabia for what? I think it was $1.5 million. It was him, another Negro, Kevin Hart, another Negro, Hannibal Buress, who sort of started the charge against Bill Cosby. All of these Negroes, self-proclaimed pro-blacks, went to go and get that Arab money. The very same Arabs that treated the slaves far worse, known to castrate them. And, they currently still engage in slavery. But since the Saudis are putting on all of these mainstream entertainment events, it's sort of to, I guess, wash their image. Oh, yeah, and I also forgot the director, Spike Lee, another pro-black Negro. He went to suck the cocks of the Arabs and Saudi royals. He participates in this thing called the Red Sea Film Festival. And that's the thing I've noticed. The most vocal pro-blackity blacks, I'm all about black people, among other things, they're usually the biggest freaking sellouts. Because without fail, you always can dig up, okay, when these Negroes get successful, who do they move around? When these Negroes get married, who they usually marry? Typically somebody not black, like Dave Chappelle, who, again, by the way, refused to allow affordable housing to be put near where he lived because he knew what that came with. The type of Negroes he grew up with in Washington, D.C., which he didn't want that. And so that's why the idiotic Negroes that worship these types, the biggest sellouts arguably on the face of the planet, these notable pro-blacks, it just goes to show you the low IQ amongst Negroes in general is very real. And also, it shows you that without slavery, I don't know how many Negroes would have made it, because how can you be this unself-aware about everything? I mean, you're up here in the comment section of my video, like defending the Saudis and claiming that they have more free speech. When those Saudi royals, those rich Arabs, talking about a history with slavery, I mean, literally engaged in the most brutal form of slavery, marching Negroes across the Sahara Desert. But again, those stories don't get told because, the people that's usually telling the slavery narratives are, liberal whites and Jews, and their whole mission is just to villainize Western whites, the people that fought to end slavery. Not the Arabs, hell, not even the Africans, because they were engaging in oppression and enslavement of other Africans before the white man arrived. But again, just notice the one that gets called the sellout is the one that actually didn't sell out. And he got offered $1 billion, more than that $50 million even that Dave Chappelle claimed that he refused for reasons that I no longer believe. I think he was just being a drama queen and diva. That and was having a bitch fit. That's why he walked away. Had nothing to do with him being real and authentic and finding his roots in Africa. Yeah, he found his roots in Africa and came back with an Asian woman that he lives in Idaho or uh, Iowa, I think. No, I think Ohio. One of those states that isn't known for a heavy black presence, especially in certain areas of it. See, Tiger Woods doesn't play that game. He doesn't pretend to hate white people. You know, like that's the difference there. You know, when you have a conservative Negro like Tiger Woods, the main difference is, well, when they date outside their race, well, they're doing it while not pretending that they hate so-called whitey. But you got the liberal pro-black Negroes who do it all the time while simultaneously claiming how much they despise whitey. It's just the blatant insincerity of it all. But yeah, I just thought it was funny to bring this up again because of my previous video talking about it. Now, Chris Tucker was also a part of the list of Negroes that showed up. And the reason why I didn't highlight and focus on him is because he doesn't go out his way spouting that pro-blackity black bullshit. So that's why I spared him, didn't talk about him, being a blatant hypocrite. But, he still accepted that Saudi money. And in general, it wouldn't be such a big deal if, most of the people on the list weren't a bunch of virtue signalers about how they're against oppression and all that nonsense. And especially when you go over there to act as an agent, a traitor against the nation that afforded you to have the livelihood that you have, Dave Chapelle, and claim that you have more free speech over there in a country that was allegedly involved with 9/11. But again, that's another thing with Negroes. Negroes aren't no different, most aren't no different than foreign agent enemies, because so-called black people don't see themselves as American. Many times where you have when you have like certain black people that would have American flags everywhere, like, well, this is a white man's country. Why you got the flag everywhere? And again, that was looked at as sellout behavior, which is why the whole FBA thing that's been created and pushed by a failed pimp rapper recently is kind of comical. Because now all of a sudden they fake are proud of America or claiming themselves as America. When in reality, the FBA thing is just about a money grift. Trying to get reparation money and trying to get as much of it as possible without, so-called foreign blacks getting any money. That's why that whole distinction was created. But those FBA niggas too aren't pro-America at all. In a lot of ways, worse than illegals. And so what Dave Chapelle did over in Saudi, being a traitor to his nation, I mean, that's just typical Negro behavior. But meanwhile, Tiger Woods, a proud American, he was the one that turned down $1 billion when these other Negroes got barely $1 million. And it just goes to show you again, these pro-blacks, among many other things, are arguably the biggest sellouts, despite how much they love claiming they keep it so real.